Carmelo Anthony recently proposed the idea of the New York Knicks trading for Steph Curry in a year or so, and we have to talk about this because it's obviously ridiculous. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as we always do. Because on his podcast, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, with the Kid Mero, Carmelo Anthony proposed the idea of the New York Knicks potentially trading for Steph Curry after Joe Budden, who was a guest on the podcast, basically said that he believes Steph Curry is going to get traded sooner rather than later. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Chris, shut up. Dude, don't do this. Why? Who gives a shit? Don't talk about this. Look, it's the All-Star break. There's not that much news going on. Yay, Jacob Toppin's in the dunk contest. Jalen Brunson's in the three-point contest in the All-Star game for the first time. Whoopee. But the All-Star break's kind of boring nowadays. I think we all know that. We're getting a little bit of a break from basketball, and I need content to put out for you guys. So that's why we're doing this, and also because it's a fun thing to talk about. Let's be real. So what Joe Budden had to say is, bold take, I see Steph Curry getting traded soon, and I screenshotted Melo's instant reaction to this, because Melo looked like he was talking to someone who had never watched a game of basketball before. And Melo then responded, Steph ain't going nowhere. I think he retires a Warrior, and then continues on and says, but if I take your scenario, I want to win. There's only one place. It's the Knicks. They got the pieces. And then continued to say, I don't think he's going nowhere. Look, Melo is kind of right. The Knicks do have the pieces to trade for Steph Curry if any team in the NBA does. It's mainly just them and the Thunder who really could do it. And the Knicks are the only team that it would make sense to actually do it. Look, I mean, is the fit with Brunson good? No, not really. But is he Steph Curry? Yeah. So would you do it if you could? Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, if the price is ludicrous, maybe not. He is 35 years old. He's dealt with a few injuries. He can't just carry the Warriors the same way that he used to, even though he is still one of the best players in the NBA, and in my mind, the 10th best player in NBA history. So look, yeah, we could maybe potentially go for it, but I don't see a world where Steph Curry ends up getting moved because he's Steph Curry. He's been with the Warriors forever. And what they were saying is, well, yeah, but if he's Steph, he probably wants another ring. And Melo responded with, yeah, he definitely wants another ring, but he's probably not going to leave Golden State to do that because he's probably content with the 4 that he has. And then said, look, he built that arena. He built that team. He's the one who moved them from Oakland to San Francisco. He's the one getting the statue, is essentially what he alluded to, and said that Steph basically is the greatest player in the Warriors franchise history, and changed the Warriors, which is absolutely true. When Joe Lacob bought the Golden State Warriors, he bought them for under $1 million in 2009 or 2011, something like that. And now they're the most valuable franchise in basketball. Why is that? 1, because Joe Lacob's good at business. 2, because Steph Curry. I get it. They were the most stacked up team in basketball history. It doesn't matter. A lot of that came through drafting and then good contracts and Steph blossoming late. And all of that led to Kevin Durant making the weakest move in sports free agency history. The only thing that you could even kind of put close to that is Shohei Ohtani being embarrassing and going to the Los Angeles Dodgers because baseball doesn't have competition because there's no salary cap. Check me out on Yankees Digest once we drop that, and I will talk about Shohei more being an absolute coward for that move. The same way that Kevin Durant was an absolute coward for going to the Golden State Warriors. However, I digress. I see why Melo is saying this. Look, the Knicks have 8 first-round picks that they could trade this coming offseason. They'd have to use 7 of them for Steph. Do you guys want to do that? Because I don't really. Like, look, I'd love to see Steph in a Knicks jersey. It'd be fun. It would be box office. But the only person who would actually say, let's do that, realistically, is Stephen A. Smith. Because Stephen A. Smith loves the names and wants to put the names in New York. I don't want to do that because I don't think that the New York Knicks would be that different. Steph and Brunson wouldn't work that well. It would work better than than Brunson and Donovan Mitchell. But Brunson's already having a better season than Steph Curry as it is this year. Steph's really has some of the most mileage in the NBA that there is. The man's constantly running around on the court. He's never stationary. It's just not how he plays. At some point, those legs are going to give. And I don't want the Knicks to trade all their assets, go completely bankrupt on assets just to have Steph Curry's corpse. I think that is a move of a prior Knicks organization. And yes, Steph's shooting probably won't go anywhere, but the athleticism will. And I don't think it would make any sense at all for the New York Knicks to do this move. I'm not going to advertise for it. I just don't. Partially, I'm not going to advertise because it's just so stupid. Like, why are Melo and Joe Budden talking about, oh, Steph Curry might get traded? Like, look, it's not a 7 p.m. in Brooklyn is not a strictly basketball podcast. It is a podcast that happens to have two celebrities, one very known in New York for comedy and his show with Jesus. The other one is the third greatest Knick of all time, one of the greatest players in the NBA, top 10 all time in points in the NBA, and so it's going to go towards basketball. However, let's not act like this is some high IQ basketball conversation. Yeah, Melo knows what he's talking about. That's why Melo instantly said Steph's going nowhere. Melo was in the NBA for 19 seasons. The man knows the ins and outs of the NBA as well as anyone in NBA history. He was very vocal as a player, very involved in the front office with the New York Knicks. And he's seen it all. He's seen some of the best teams. He's went to the conference finals. He's seen some of the worst teams. He was on a 17-65 Knicks team, albeit he was injured, missed most of the season with a torn patellar tendon. But he's seen it all. Melo knows how the NBA works. He knows who Steph Curry is. Him and Steph Curry have a rapport together. It's not like they're not friends. They are. They know each other. Melo knows Steph a lot better than most people do. And if he is insistent that Steph's not going anywhere, then guess what? Steph's not going anywhere. But if we just look here, on the WFAN show, Evan and Tiki, which obviously stars Tiki Barber, former NFL player, what Evan said, the host of the show, he said that I see the future. This is not a story today. It'll be a story in the next few weeks, and I think it's obvious. Talking about the Knicks, you've been chasing a star forever. I know the next NBA star that's about to become available, and you're all going to freak out because you're all going to want him, and I'm going to tell you all to calm down, take a deep breath, because it's a massive mistake. The next available superstar you're all going to drool over is the greatest shooter in NBA history, Steph Curry. Are you willing to take all the assets you've collected and cash in on Steph Curry being the guy? Now, I'm adding that not to say, oh, well, Evan's some big insider. He's going to know that Steph Curry's becoming available. No, he's speculating on that point, and I mean, not a bad guess. There is a world where Steph could request a trade, sure. Is he going to? Probably not, because he's loyal as all hell, I'd assume. We've never really seen him on consistently bad Warriors teams. We're probably about to start seeing that unless Jonathan Kuminga continues to get better, because I mean, this team, they're cooked. Clay's cooked, which Melo disagreed with because Melo knows Clay and he's in the NBA. He's not going to start saying guys are washed up. Melo's too chill of a person. But Clay's cooked. Draymond Green is at the end of the road. Kevon Looney is a decent NBA role player at best. Trace Jackson-Davis is all right as a young player. Moses Moody's decent. Jonathan Kuminga is the second best player on that team. And outside of that, there's not that much going on with them. I don't really see them ever improving again. I think the Warriors are going to spend a lot of time in mediocrity, continuing to try to win for Steph Curry because he's the greatest player in their franchise's history. I mean, maybe Wilt, but it's such a different time, and Wilt played for a few different teams that you got to go with Steph on that one. Also, Steph has way more championships with them than Wilt did, because Wilt didn't win a single championship with them. Wilt's only championship is in 1972, his second to last year in the NBA. He went with the Lakers, and unfortunately, they beat the New York Knicks. But we got a revenge the next year, so it's okay. Yeah. Clyde has 2, you have 1, Wilt. Suck on that, Mr. Maybe scored 100 points. I didn't see the footage. Where's the footage? But for real, don't do this, Knicks. And Steph Curry is not available at all, so you can't do it. You can't do it. You don't do it even if you could. If you do think so, let me know down below, because I'm just interested in it. And Steph Curry obviously wanted to go to the Knicks at one point, because as he said when I got drafted, it's kind of a funny thing. I wanted to go to New York and thought I was going to. I was at the draft in the green room, like, oh, well, get to the 8th spot. New York will get me. Then I get the call from Larry Riley, the former Warriors GM, and said, like, all right, we're going to pick you in the 7th spot. Now, here's something fun about that little fun fact. soon to be Nick at that time, Amari Stoudemire, almost got traded to the Golden State Warriors from the Phoenix Suns. And Steph was going to end up a Phoenix Sun because their president really wanted him. Who was their president? Mr. Steve Kerr, Steph's coach, longtime coach, who's probably going to retire with Steph. Just a fun little fact to throw at you guys. And here's the numbers of one of the greatest of all time. He has enough accolades to build an entire house around them. He's averaging 28 points this season, getting 5 assists, shooting 42% from the field, or 42% from 3, 46% from the field. Greatest free throw shooter of all time. 21.5 PER. I mean, look, he's still great. The man is as good as anyone's ever been at the sport of basketball in a talent perspective. He's probably the most talented player in NBA history. I know people love to say Kyrie Irving because the internet said that once, and people just blindly listen to the internet. Like, sometimes people just see something and are like, let me go onto YouTube and talk about Steph Curry maybe going to the Knicks because Carmelo Anthony said so, because those people suck. I hate those guys. Oh, that's what I'm doing. Oh, okay. That's actually what I'm doing. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. Have a great day. Go Knicks. Like and subscribe, everybody. Happy All-Star break. I can't wait for Knicks basketball to come back when we're healthy. And so I don't have to make shit like this anymore.